So the other day I ran into a virus or malware called CryptoLocker. And let me tell you, I know it's been out for a couple years, but this was the first time I've ran into it in the wild, which basically means that I've actually found somebody or had to work on a computer that actually had it. And that is the first time that I've had a piece of malware really beat me. And doing research on it and finding out it's really a nasty piece of malware that you can get on your computer. So stay tuned and I'll go over what is CryptoLocker, how you can prevent it, and what your options are if you get infected with it. So CryptoLocker is a form of malware. And malware is malicious software. It's basically software that's, just like any other software you would install on your computer, but it has a malicious intent. And so these are sometimes the worst things because they're not caught by standard antiviruses. So what CryptoLocker does is it's usually something that you would see, and you'd get it through an email or maybe a malicious website that you've gone to and you've clicked on something and it's installed this program in the background. And so when you reboot your computer, CryptoLocker kind of gets its arms and fingers inside your computer, and it begins encrypting your data. Now how it does this actually is once the software is ready to go and it's running, it actually contacts a remote server and sets up an encryption key with that remote server. So it actually comes back to your computer and starts encrypting all the data in your computer. But the key that actually will allow you to decrypt it is actually held on the remote server that you don't have access to, that's controlled by the person who wrote the malware. And so it'll eventually start going through all of your files and documents in your users folder, and it starts to encrypt them all. And so one day you'll notice that all my files are missing, or my files are corrupted, and when I open them it's just a bunch of gibberish. And eventually you'll get probably a pop-up saying that, hey, it'll say like, where are my files? And it'll tell you that, oh, we've encrypted your files using, 2048, bit encryption, which basically means you're not decrypting it unless you have, a couple million years to wait around for a computer to try to decrypt it. And basically wants you to pay them 100, 200, the prices seem to vary, but basically pay them money for them to give you the decryption key. And you have a certain amount of time to do that. And if you don't do it within the time frame, they raise the ransom for your data. Now, my recommendation, if you get that, is don't pay the ransom. Yes, they may give you the decryption key and you may get your files back, but at the end of the day, you're paying money to somebody who is breaking into people's computers. You're paying an organization, an illegal organization, and you're funding them to continue to do the work that they're doing. Now I understand sometimes it happens and you have a lot of files that maybe you needed, but that's why we need to talk about how not to get this in the first place. So the biggest thing is watch what you open in your email. Check your emails, know who they came from, check the attachments. If you see an attachment that's a zip file or an exe file, it's probably something dangerous. But again, it warrants research. It warrants at least ask somebody. I do that at work all the time. I'm like, I feel like this is a legitimate email, but let me ask somebody, get their opinion to see what they think. So that's the first thing. Also, make sure when you're Googling on the internet or searching on a website, be careful what you click on, especially if you're on like a news site, not a well-known news site, but you've done a Google search and you've clicked on a page. Usually Google does a pretty good job of making sure the sites that are in the top of their results are not malicious websites. Not always, but most of the time, yes. But when you click on that website and you're viewing that website may have ads or links to other websites that have not been checked. And so really when you go to a site and you see certain articles, be careful what you click on. Watch your internet browsing habits. That's the best way to make sure that you don't get these things to start with. Now, if you do click on something or you get an email that you think maybe is malicious, the first thing you should do is disconnect your computer from the internet. Second thing that you should do is disconnect your computer, any attached network devices. So if you have a hard drive or a flash drive or anything connected to your computer, obviously you can leave your mouse, keyboard, and your monitor connected, but anything that has data, go ahead and disconnect that. If you're really tech savvy and you think you've gotten a virus or even CryptoLocker, disconnect your hard drive from your computer and put that drive into a secured secondary machine to try to back that up. But for the standard user, get everything disconnected, and then take a look at your computer, open up your antivirus, any other things that you have, and let them run. Because when these software programs install, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll disable things like Windows Update, and they'll disable your antivirus. And so if you go to open your antivirus and it's disabled and it can't finish the search, now you've got a bad infection and you need to start researching on it, or contact somebody to help get that fixed. If you do run into a virus and you're not able to get it fixed, feel free to check out our website at techtipguru.com/services. You can contact us and we can give you a quote on or to get that fixed, or to be able to provide you with some information and help research how to get that fixed for you. So if you get infected, you're going to need to probably download a couple different programs on your computer unless you have them already. So most of the time you're going to have to restart your computer in safe mode, which you do that by restarting your computer and pressing F8, and that will give you the option to start safe mode. You'll want to start safe mode with networking so you can still access the internet. Once you restart your computer in safe mode with networking, you'll be able to hopefully get into your computer without the spyware or malware actually running. At that point, you can open up your web browser and you can go to malwarebytes.com, and you can download their free malware scan tool that will help remove most malware from the system. So run Malwarebytes, let it run, let it scan, see if it can catch. It should be able to catch most of the malware programs that are on the computer. Also, if you're on a Windows computer, download Windows Security Essentials. You may already have an existing antivirus, and that's probably good enough, but I like using Windows Security Essentials just because sometimes it is able to catch some things that others don't. It is made by Microsoft, so it's the same owner of Windows, and it's not the best system out there, but it could be pretty helpful. So once you get those programs downloaded and you run the scans on both of them, they should find multiple files that are detected, and hopefully clean that up. You'll also want to make sure that your system services weren't disabled. So for instance, if you try to click on Start and go to Windows Update and it says that Windows Update can't start, it's because that malware virus has disabled Windows system services. And it's a little advanced, but basically you need to click on Start, type in Services. As long as you're on Windows 7 or newer, you should get a little program in the search that says Services. If you click on that, it gives you a list of all the services on the computer, and you can scroll down to all the Windows services, and you should have one that says Windows Update or Windows Security Center. Basically, when you try to access something, it's going to have a little pop-up saying this service cannot be started, and you can usually do a quick little Google search to look up how to start that service. Now be careful when you do the Google search, don't download another piece of malware. That would be really bad. So hopefully those are a couple pointers. CryptoLocker, again, it is awful. If you do get on your computer and your files are wiped, there's not much you can do to get those files back. You could technically pay them, but then you run the risk of all sorts of things, and then, like I said, you're paying a company to continue to do malicious activity. So this brings me to the last part of this video, which is going to be back up your data. Whether you're using a laptop, a desktop, if you're on a Mac or a PC, whatever you're using, you need to have a backup of your data. CryptoLocker will delete or encrypt all your data, and there's no way to get it back. And so the easiest thing is to get your computer cleaned up and then restore a backup from an earlier point using System Restore, Windows Backup, or Time Machine to restore your files at least from a day ago. Or even if you're only doing weekly updates, that's better than losing your data forever. So make sure you're using Windows Backup on a PC, or if you're on a Mac, using Time Machine to back up that to an external device. And that's why I said in the beginning of this video, if you do think you've gotten malware, immediately unplug that external device, because CryptoLocker will also try to delete or encrypt your backups, and basically rendering all your backups or system restores unusable. So the best practice would be make sure you're backing up your computer And if you have sensitive data, information that cannot be replaced, such as pictures or important financial documents on your computer, if you're using your computer for those kind of things, you should have a backup, and then you really should have an external backup of your backup that you make every so often. So maybe it's an external drive, and you copy your backups to the external drive, and that external drive you put in a fireproof safe somewhere in your house, or sign up for an online backup service. Just make sure that online backup service actually keeps copies of your backups. Because with CryptoLocker, what you need to be able to do is after you realize you've gotten it, you're like, oh, my files have been deleted. Was that a day ago or 2 days ago? I don't know when that virus or that malware occurred. You need to be able to go back and restore those backups from a previous point. So that's my video on CryptoLocker. Hope that was helpful. I know it wasn't completely, a complete solution to it all, but I just ran into it this past week, and I wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys, ways to help prevent that, and just some good security practices in general for your computer. So thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, click the subscribe button below the video. And if you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't like this video, give it a dislike. I'd love to know how you feel. Also, feel free to visit our website at techtipguru.com for more helpful tips and reviews. And thank you once again for watching.